It's week 15 in the NFL. And if you haven't been watching Fluent and Chill, you're not knowing as much as you could about what's going on in the NFL. I'm Anthony K of Sports Fluent. I'm here as always with my main man, Jermaine from Chilltown Hoops. Jay, how you doing, man?
Hey man, Tony, it's that time of year, man. The blood pressure is up. Guys are on the edge. The playoffs are getting closer.
And you know what's the best? Can I say what's the best part of this? Both the AFC and NFC, there's no clear cut who's the best team. We don't even know who's going to have the first round, who's the first round bye. There's no clear cut, hey, this team's going to the Super Bowl. There's legit five teams in each, at least five teams in each conference that has a legit shot. And that's not counting a dark horse, a surprise, a team. You know, we've seen it in the past, like the Giants or the Eagles just go on a run. That's not even counting those guys. So I'm literally getting goosebumps. I'm not kidding. I have goosebumps right now.
The Dolphins are they in last place in the hunt. They are one game out of the fifth spot, and they're in last place, and they one game out of the fifth spot.
We're gonna get to that. So we're gonna make our week 15 picks. We're gonna talk about those teams that are there. We're gonna look back at week 14. We did pretty good.
Yeah, we did
pretty good.
Yeah, we did.
We're also going to talk about an injury that's going to affect what we're just talking about to a major player on one of the leading teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know who it is. We all know who it is, D-Hop.
Mm-hmm.
And more, but we're going to start this week. I don't know if I need to go back to the tape. I know your memory. For me, for those that don't know, I want to put this out there, and I might start putting this out there a little bit more. My memory stinks. I know a lot of stuff and I take a lot of notes, and you guys don't even see this. I've got like four different, you don't even know. I have four different notebooks as well as on my computer where I take notes because I know stuff, but I'm getting to that. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting to that age where I'm starting to forget. So I have to make notes on everything. And people ask me questions and I go, well, hold on. Let me look it up and do my research because my memory's twisted. Listen, I'm going to tell you a quick story about my life. This morning I woke up. I walked out of the house. I walk my kids to school every morning.
Mm-hmm.
My garage door wide open. Left my garage door wide open with the car, the bikes, all that stuff in the garage. An animal had gotten in and started eating some garbage. Like it was a disaster. That's how I spent my morning, which is why I was a little bit late recording, meeting you this morning. My memory's just starting to go. Then I walk the kids to school. Good thing no one knows where I live yet. I walk my kids to school. I come back. I forgot my front door unlocked. Like I'm starting to slip. So in case you wonder, this guy says he's fluent. How come he's always looking stuff up? It's because I just don't remember.
Lock the door, Tone.
I gotta look stuff up. And just to remind myself, right? Even, but it's your own thoughts. I go, I know. I want to confirm because a lot of the stuff, this, I want my stuff based on not just my opinion. I look at some stats and accolades and those things. Right. I like to bring all that stuff together. So that being said, memory does serve me correct. And you'll, like I said, remember this better than I do. Remember I said Urban Meyer's not going to last a season?
You did say that.
I'm surprised he lasted this long, to be honest. That's the only shock about last night when it came out. I think it was like 1 a.m. When Shad Khan finally corrected his, one of his biggest mistakes, which was hiring Urban Meyer. So now he's fired. I think overdue. I think everyone knows how I feel. He was a terrible hire. I think he's not a nice. I don't think he's a good person. Forget that. I don't think he's a good coach. I just think he's a bad person. Which when you're trying to turn around a franchise, you're bringing in a young quarterback. You're trying to build a culture. I feel you need to bring in obviously a good coach, but you need to bring in a good person who's going to take these young men and professionals and bring them together and create a culture. We maybe don't talk about it enough, but a winning culture and the right attitude, right? You might not always like it. Like Bill Belichick, we might not always love his tactics, but he's building a team first winning culture. Again, you might not like it or agree with it, but there's those guys that can do that. And then there's guys like Urban Meyer that can't. So I want your opinion. What do you think? You didn't believe me when I said he wasn't going to last the season.
You said, quote, before when that thing happened in Cincinnati, and I asked you, I said, if that was Tomlin, if that was anybody else, you said that on Monday we would have the release press. On Monday, the press conference would have been it would have been announced and he would have been released.
Yeah,
so
not an apology.
No,
they would have allowed them to step down, but they'd be stepping down from their role.
That's exactly what you said. So with that being said, the owner came out and made it clear that he has to earn our respect back. So he was already skating on thin ice, Tone. That means that anything that's remotely close to what was going on there will not be tolerated, and you will be removed immediately. So we got a guy that's running around the facility who sounds to me like he's toxic. We got guys walking out of practice. We got guys, he got him challenging coaches, and not challenging coaches in a good way to get your guys better. No, challenging coaches in the aspect of demeaning them. Who are you and what have you done? Well, wait a minute. I don't want to work under those conditions. I can't be effective under those conditions at all. And you said this more than once, more than twice, Tone. In the world of business, when you fail fast. We're not going to hold on to this dude for a year, 2 years, 3 years. We screwed this up. Let's fix it right now.
It also didn't help. My players are losers. I exaggerate a little bit on this. I know he didn't say all of this, but the players are losers, the fans are losers, the assistant coaches are losers. Oh, me? Oh, no, I'm a winner. No, dude. Like, you create those other people. You make them successful. You help them, because the fact that he came out and called assistant coaches and players losers and not himself, that's your team. At the end of the day, you take responsibility. All that stuff rolls up to you. I've always said this, right? You know, I manage a lot of people, and I always say, if they fail, that's on me.
Yeah,
it is on me, because I either didn't see it when I hired them, I didn't do the right training, I wasn't on them, I didn't coach them in the right way. I take that as my own loss. Now I'll fail quick, and if I realize it, we move on. But I don't think he's self-aware. Like, his ego, look, you need to have an ego to be successful. You have to have an ego. There has to be a level of confidence / arrogance. You have, like when when you play ball, you can't go out there thinking, I'm going to miss this shot. You need to think, every shot I take is going in. Every pass I make is going to be perfect. Every player I'm defending, I'm going to stop them. You have to have that level of confidence, arrogance almost. But he's taken it but you still need to be self-aware. You need to know what you can and cannot do.
The thing that I'm thinking about more than anything, Tone, is I'm thinking about, what is your team built on, right? My team is built on, we have a certain identity, and it starts with the head coach. If my head coach is walking around telling us we suck, the head coach is walking around telling us we're losers. Well, if you hear that one time and you recognize we do suck, so we got to get it together. All right. But if I constantly hear that, you know what? That's not helping me. And not only is that not helping me, the person that I'm concerned with the most is who we're building our unit around. And who are we building our unit around? A quarterback. More young quarterbacks are broken, are destroyed more than anything. And the last thing that I want to do with a not a first round pick, Tone, the number 1 overall pick in the draft, if we get this guy and he screws him up, that could set us back years. So if we can move on from Urban Meyer, which I think is a good thing, if we can move on from Urban Meyer right now and salvage some of this, just to, at minimum, keep our quarterback, keep his head afloat, then I think that we're good.
It's like I said, this is 2 episodes in a row where I've said, I keep saying, I feel like, I told you so. And I didn't want to be right. Like, I don't want Zion Williamson to be a bust and not to play because of his weight and because of his injuries. I want Jacksonville to be good. Like, they are, let's be honest, Jacksonville's kind of on thin ice, right? In terms of, it's a smaller market that, they're not a good team. When your team's not good, you don't get the TV deals, you don't get the endorsements, you don't get that stuff. I like Jacksonville I love going to Jacksonville. I love Jacksonville. I think it's a great city. I've thought about moving to Jacksonville, but not if there's no NFL franchise there. Right. Like, that's how big of a deal this is they could have set themselves back 5 years or more. And they're not New York, New Jersey. They're not the Jets where they can sustain it because there's just a long history of Jacksonville's like still fairly new in the NFL landscape.
Absolutely it is. I think they've been around 25 years. So with that being said, Tone, were they wrong in hiring him? We talking about a guy, well, it looks like they're wrong now. But rewind the clock back to when they first hired him. I know how you felt about him.
I always thought it was bad, but okay, let me hear the other side.
coming into this hire, we're talking about a guy in Urban Meyer who had been at Ohio State for the years that he had been there. And in the process of him doing that, he was a dominant football coach. He wasn't a good football coach. Not only that, he had won everywhere that he coached. He had won at Bowling Green. He had won at Utah. He had won at Ohio State. He had won at Florida. So there's no reason to think from multiple places that he's won. I know the pro game is different than the college game, but there was no reason to think that he couldn't win over the course of his career in Jacksonville. There was no reason to think that he couldn't do it. Now, did I think that it was going to go up in flames this fast? No, I did not. I actually thought that it was going to be a good hire. But there were some red flags initially, like bringing in Tim Tebow. I'm thinking, wait a second. This doesn't sound like a good idea at all. Not him being the coach, but bringing in Tim Tebow. But I scoffed it. Ugh, whatever. That's not a big deal. We know Tim Tebow's not going to make the squad. I think that they're doing that.
We knew it was for ticket sales, right? We
right.
Knew, publicity.
We're going to bring him in to get a buzz around here, to get people watching again. Okay. But then they start losing, and he's having a difficult time as a coach.
Don't give him a free pass on that trainer.
Oh, I'm not.
The racist, abusive, never should have been hired trainer.
Right. And he wants to bring him in. That was another red flag. So I'm thinking to myself, what kind of culture are we bringing in here? Because if this is what he was doing at the college level, how was he winning? And who was condoning this sort of thing is my question. It just sounded like a good idea initially, Tone, just because of his track record of winning. That's why. Now, it clearly flamed out, and it flamed out fast, but it sounded like a good idea initially.
See, and for me, why it wasn't is because although he had winning programs, right? Listen, it's one thing to win. Mm-hmm. It's another thing when you're building a culture. And that's where I make that distinction. When you look at what he did in Florida, yeah, he won. But look at all the stuff out of Florida that was going on. Like it's not like it was like we all know more and more, and there's probably more stuff we don't know. Yeah. He brought in players that he needed to bring in to win. He let them get away with literally murder, mm-hmm. right? As long as it meant winning. Well, is that the way to build an NFL culture? In today's day and age, it's not. So that's the thing, is that we got it sometimes. I get it. Some winning solves all problems. People say that all the time. Not when you're building a culture, and you knew this team wasn't going to win. You knew they weren't going to win really from the gate. So that's where I think it's like, well, if we're going to bring in someone, all he's ever done is win. How does he handle losing?
And he hasn't handled it well at all, Tone. In fact, it's been
that you knew he was going to. We knew. Yeah. Like, come on, there's no one in their right mind who looked at that roster and said this team's going to win. From the jump. So
I didn't think they'd be competitive.
So how does he handle losing? Well, he doesn't handle it very well. We know that. Well, then this is the wrong. And that's why I was saying it's the wrong hire, right? You need to bring in someone who says, I'm going to build something, and I don't think he was that guy. So that's why I was, right from the beginning, I said, I don't think this is the guy. So, but I get it. You look at, again, we look at wins and losses.
Yeah.
And sometimes people get, they fall in love with that record, and sometimes you're more than your record.
Absolutely.
That's why I say you got to look at those other things. So
absolutely, yeah.
So again, you could clearly see I'm not a fan of Urban Meyer. So not that I'm happy. I never want anyone to lose their job, and I think he's fine financially. So I don't think we're worried.
To be quite honest with you, I'm going to be honest with you though. But if what you're saying is true, I don't know how true it is, but if what you're saying is true, and he's one of those guys, and he condones that sort of behavior, I don't want him around me neither. And I don't want him around any of my guys. If he's that kind of guy, I don't want him around me, and I don't want him around any of my guys. Absolutely not.
Now, I don't know him personally, so I'm only going by, because obviously Tim Tebow loves him, and Tim Tebow seems to be a very kind of upstanding guy.
Right.
So I'm not saying he's all bad. I'm just saying I didn't think, and I know I've maybe portrayed him as a horrible person. I'm not saying that. I didn't think he was the right fit to build a culture. Turns out I was right.
Right.
And you know what? They did the right thing by moving on, and hopefully they can save. Let's be honest. Trevor Lawrence is very talented, but he wasn't the best quarterback coming out of that draft. He wasn't. So he's gonna.
I don't know, Tone.
They got a small window. They got a small window.
I thought Trevor Lawrence. I thought Trevor Lawrence was better than Justin Fields. Yes, I did. I absolutely thought he was.
You think Trevor? Who had more success, Trevor Lawrence or Mac Jones?
Who have more? Well, I think that if I'm not mistaken, as of right now, Trevor Lawrence has lost more games this season than he has.
No, but I mean, just in that last season of college, who was more successful? It was Mac Jones.
It was Mac Jones.
Now they're going to say, well, Mac Jones, Alabama had all these other pieces around,
right.
and they're going to, hey, I get it.
I thought
so. That's what I'm saying. Based on play, I understand why he went first overall. I do. The guy is talented. Here's what I'm afraid of: if you don't get someone in there like yesterday that can now work with him, there's been so many talented quarterbacks, and I went through this a couple of years ago. We went down the list. Bad coach, bad QB coach, bad offensive coordinator. They rotate them in and out, and these what are supposed to be great quarterbacks never end up developing because the inconsistencies, all those things. You need to have, like, people don't realize how important those first kind of 2-3 years are, and who's teaching you. And
you know my philosophy, Tone. Anybody can train a secretary. You can screw them up too, though.
Yeah,
screw them right up. So
and that's the part that I want to make. I'll show my compassionate side because I come across a little hard. I don't want him to fail because they make the wrong hires, because he is a talented. And when I say kid, listen, I can say kid. I'm like twice his age, so I can say kid.
I'm old enough to be your father. Yes,
yeah. So I want him. I want these guys to succeed. I want there to be 32 superstar quarterbacks in the NFL, because that makes for better football. It's just like, what they 17, 18 games. Well, I don't necessarily love it for the players, but I love it for me. More football, better. You know what I mean? So it's I want everybody to be really good. So hopefully they can figure that out in Jacksonville. We're available. Chilltown's not too far. I will move, as I said, down to Jacksonville if you need us. Shad Khan, if you're listening, we're available. Or I've got some coaching. Do you want to talk about who might make sense?
I'm listening.
Eric Bieniemy, Byron Leftwich.
Anybody that you're talking about, Tone, this has to be, because this hire was bad and they failed quick. Whoever we're talking about, this isn't somebody this is not a 2-3 year project. This is somebody that we're going to have around for a long time, because
I think Eric Bieniemy is kind of the hot name, but I actually think Byron Leftwich, coming out of Tampa, learning under Bruce Arians, coaching Tom Brady in Florida, I think he's young enough. He played quarterback, right? Listen, you don't have to be a superstar quarterback to teach people to play quarterback or to help them be successful. I think that
job's going to go to Kellen Moore.
I hope not. I hope not.
That job is going to go to. I don't like it, but I think that job.
You know what Kellen Moore is going to do? He's going to come in and he's going to put in a very pass-heavy offense. Trevor Lawrence is going to throw the ball 50 times, and we're going to say, "How come he's throwing 30 interceptions? Oh, he's a bust." He's not a bust. Because that's also the problem. Let's be honest with Urban Meyer. He have James Robinson, an undrafted rookie, who just came out of nowhere. You draft a running back in the first round? No. So if I'm telling you right now, if it goes to Kellen Moore, then I feel sorry for Trevor Lawrence. He's going to go the way of Sam Darnold.
Here we go again.
He's going to go the way of Sam Darnold.
I just don't want to see that, Tone. I don't.
And that's what I'm saying. I think. Look, there's other coaches, and I'm sure. And hey, if you haven't subscribed and hit the reminder, do that now. But also in the comments, tell us, who do you think should be the head coach of the Jags? For me, I think if they could just interim, listen, they're not going to the playoffs. They're not doing it right. Just get through this season. I think Byron Leftwich, as I thought about it, names went through my head, and Byron Leftwich just jumped right out at me. Florida, Brady, Arians, former quarterback. I think that's, and I think he knows the importance as a quarterback of if you can get a running game.
I think he played in Jacksonville too.
I think he did play in Jacksonville after Brunell, right?
Yeah, I think he played in Jacksonville. Yeah,
he may have. So there you go. So I think that's a good fit. I don't know. Yeah. And he seemed like, again, don't hear any bad stories about him.
Nope.
And I think
Brady loves him, by the way.
Brady, yeah.
Brady absolutely loves him.
You have Brady's stamp of approval. And I really like Arians as he's put his staff together. Like, you can see he does it. I think he does it the right way. So if I'm making a pick, that's who I'm picking. Again, Chad, there you go. All right. So from a firing to unfortunate injury. So let's talk about this week's game. So we got two. We're gonna incorporate these two together. So we got two games that we didn't get right last week, and I'm gonna start with this one because it leads into the conversation about DeAndre Hopkins. We both picked the Cards to beat the Rams. We thought, okay, Murray's back, Hop is back. You know, they're the top team. They've played so well without those guys, and they still had a chance. James Conner. We don't talk about him enough. James Conner's really come around as a nice back for them. But we both picked the Cards and the Rams. What did you see before we get to the injury? What did you see from the Rams? Was it a one-time thing? You think this is sustainable? Are they kind of going to go on a run?
One thing that I saw that was the difference that I didn't see in the first game that they played them was pass rush. They put heat on Kyler Murray, and they constantly put heat on him, and they kept him on the inside. Once he gets on the outside and he gets to running, he's impossible. They kept him on the inside, and don't let that almost 400 yards fool you, Tone. A lot of that was empty. A lot of that was empty stuff that he was getting underneath, and they weren't really moving the football. I thought that they did a great job with their front four with Aaron Donald. I thought they did a great job in constantly keeping pressure on him because they get to the quarterback. A lot of teams don't really get to the quarterback as much as they can. And Aaron Donald and that Rams front four, they got to the quarterback as much as they possibly could. And I think that was the difference in the game.
I can't believe I'm about to say this. Aaron Donald has become almost the most underrated defensive player in the NFL. And here's why. When you look at the defensive player of the year, rightfully so, you hear, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Parsons, Micah Parsons. You don't hear Donald's name, but offenses are running away from him. They're passing away from him. They're doing everything to get away from him. That's probably the biggest compliment. Of course, his stats are going to be down. Right, it's like Deion Sanders. Well, yeah, if he's on the left side and I'm throwing right because he's on the left side,
because we're never going over there.
I'm never going over there.
Going over there. So
I think that's the biggest compliment you can give a player. So
we're talking about a guy, Aaron Donald, who the quarterback is saying, "I don't care who you block, just keep him away from me." That dude right there, just keep him away from me. Absolutely. And that Rams defense, I thought that they did a really good job of getting to Kyler Murray in that offense. Now, remember, Tone, we're talking about a dude in Matt Stafford who is 0-4. 17 games he's played against teams that are 5 games over 500. 0 wins before Sunday, right? He hasn't won a game. Now, with that being said, I expect Matt Stafford to be Matt Stafford in big games because he's proven that time and time again. I want to put him a hair above Kirk Cousins in that aspect because he hasn't proven much more than Cousins in big games. However, he looked really good. He looked really under control in the pocket. He was really good in the deep ball. So I dug what I saw.
He made one pass.
Yeah.
That I just went, wow. I didn't think. But here's my problem. As you know, with Matthew Stafford, he can look like Aaron Rodgers. And then he can look like, I don't know, like Trevor Siemian. Aaron Cousins, yeah.
From Jupiter High School or some nonsense like that.
Yeah, he has the ability to make those plays that make you go, wow. And then he has these boneheaded plays, pick sixes, and you're like,
Yes.
And that's, listen, I get it. It was with the Lions. But he's 0-3 in the playoffs, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks. Like that's what scares me about the Rams has always been, I have trust issues with QBs.
Yes.
And I'm like, if he has a good game, I'm going to look like a dummy and he's going to look great. If he has his typical game, I'm going to look like a genius and be like, I told you so. You can't trust him.
And he looks like unlike with Baker Mayfield, he looks like he got some good chemistry with OBJ. They look like they got some good chemistry.
If they can keep that up, if it wasn't just one game, if OBJ can become like old OBJ, with Cooper Kupp doing what he's doing, because they don't have a run game. There's names, but they don't run the ball.
Henderson's
so they can
not running the football.
Yeah, if they can get OBJ and Kupp, then with that defense, then they have a shot.
Yeah.
So Arizona not only took the loss, which now brings them right back down into the pack with everybody else, but they also lost DeAndre Hopkins, by far their best receiver, and he's out for the season. So now with a couple of games left, we don't know if he's going to be back for the playoffs. I think if he's out for the playoffs, then unfortunately, I think they're done. But let's just talk about regular season. do they take a couple more? I guess we should probably look at who they're playing. And let's see how bad. Like they've won without Murray and DeAndre Hopkins a couple of games.
Yep.
Well, let's see. Who do they got? They've got the Lions. So I
Mm-hmm.
think they can win that game without DeAndre Hopkins. They've got the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a tough one.
Be a tough one, absolutely.
They've got the Cowboys, who they're going to have to score against. And obviously Parsons, I said, they've got some. The Cowboys defense isn't as bad as it's been.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got the Seahawks, which people look at the record and say, "Oh, that's a win," but no, that's a division game. So really, you really got the Lions. So that's I think your win 11. Do they get 12, 13, 14? Like, I don't know, right?
That's going to be tough. They got to play the 49ers again too, Tone. And that's a mental thing with the 49ers. So
no, they don't.
Yeah, we only played them one time.
No, you played them twice.
When did we play the Rams?
Oh, no. I'm talking about the Cardinals. Talking about the Cardinals.
Not the Rams. I'm sorry. You're talking about the Cardinals. Yeah. That's correct.
Yeah. So, as I say, the Cardinals have the Lions.
That's correct. That's correct.
So
my fault.
Can they go 2-2? Can they you're right. Can they steal a win against the Colts, the Cowboys, or the Seahawks? Maybe?
Well, when I think about what they're doing offensively, right? They're a very run-heavy team because I look at what James Conner is doing. James Conner, one of the best runners in the game, and he's been big for them, lead them in touchdowns, lead them in rushing. So they're a run-heavy team. With that being said, they got to involve now with D-Hop out. They're going to involve Zach Ertz more in their offense than they do. I think that he's going to be the difference in what they're doing because he causes so many mismatches for linebackers. He causes so many mismatches, getting DNs matched up on him. So I think that they're going to implement him more in their offense than they did
see like a slower kind of
more methodical, kind of, absolutely
slower offense. That
might make sense. They can do that
because if they don't win at least 2 games, right? They now go from being the top seed in the NFC. Mm-hmm. They're already now, because of tie breaks, et cetera, 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now you got to deal with, if they make it past the first round, you got to play Green Bay or Tampa Bay in.
You got to go on the road.
Or Tampa Bay, you got to go on the road. Mm-hmm. I'm nervous about that because if the playoffs were to start today, they'd be playing San Francisco.
Yeah,
and that's not a team you want to play right now. Mm-mm. So especially if you're banged up.
Well, Tone, you said this to me before, and I want to make sure we reiterate this. How many wins is it going to take in the NFC to get in? If not as a division winner, as a wild card.
As a wild card, you need 9 minimum.
I was thinking 10 games. I'm thinking 10 games is what it's going to take to get in. So the window, not only is the window not wide open, but the margin of error is inches because you're looking at teams that are only separated by 1-2 games tops. So it would be the difference in hosting a playoff game in the divisional round as opposed to having to get on a plane in January and going to Green Bay. I don't want to do that.
Well, here's why I say 9. Here's why I say 9. The 7th seed right now is San Francisco with 7.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right? Everyone's got 4 games left. So then you got Washington, Minnesota, Philadelphia all at 6. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're running Atlanta's at 6. Wow, New Orleans is at 6. Mm-hmm. One of those 4 teams would have to run the table to get to 10. So right. I don't think any of them are running the table. So I think the 7th seed is 9. But after that, you're right. The Rams, Dallas, and Arizona, the other teams, and Tampa Bay all have 9 and 10 wins.
Yeah.
So other than that 7th seed, you're going to need 11. It's going to be 11 or 12. But to have that 7th seed, 9 and some help, I guess. Yeah. 9 and some help. 10 and you're in. 10. So maybe your number's right. 10 and you're in. But that's wow. 10 wins to get in. And probably lose in the first round. Let's be honest.
Right. And we haven't seen, and we've seen seasons where, I think the Patriots in 2007, they went 11-5 with Castle and didn't make the playoffs. Won 11 games and did not make the playoffs. So we've seen seasons that are like this. But now that
last season in the AFC, I think 10-win teams didn't make the playoffs.
Right. So
might have that. You might have a Washington or Minnesota. No, I don't think Minnesota. But let's use Washington as an example because they're right now the 8th seed. They could run the table and go 10-7
and not make the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's not ridiculous. That is not ridiculous at all, man. Not at all. So when I think
about San Francisco if San Francisco started to catch up, but if San Francisco can run the table and go 11 wins, they're the 7th seed with 11 wins.
With 11 wins. With 11, that's nuts right there. That's absolutely nuts, Tom. I don't think we're going to run the table, but
no, but I'm just saying if let's say Washington and San Francisco both run the table, you got a 10-win team out and an 11 team being the number 7 seed, and that's not the one you want to be. Like if Arizona stays at the 3 seed,
right,
you want to do everything you can to be the 6 seed. Like I'm not like, if I have to pick between Tampa Bay or Arizona to go to and play, well, that's where I'm going.
Right.
Like I want to go. I'd rather go to Arizona than go to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, because you're talking about seeing the defending champs as opposed to seeing Arizona,
a young team, first time in the playoffs. Yeah,
hey,
I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying it's easier. I would with
it's less difficult.
It's less difficult, to go there. So it's gonna be interesting. So Hopkins. So I think we addressed it though. So Hopkins out for the rest of the season. They could still probably go 2-2 just based on their schedule. But you think they're going to slow down the offense, more tight ends, more kind of running
back, absolutely. And when I think about Hopkins, we're talking about arguably the best wideout in the game. So you don't really, when you lose a guy like that, that's not something that you just next man up. No, because this is the best. This isn't the best wideout on our team. This is the chaos that he causes when he's on the field, where he demands a double team. You can't.
It's a top 3 receiver in the league,
right? This ain't just the best receiver on your team. This is one of the top 3 receivers in the game, and the chaos that he causes, and how defenses shift because of him. So now we're going to get played completely different with him out the lineup, completely different, and that means that we got to implement other guys, and it's not just a next man up thing. No, it's completely different because we got to shift our offense because so much of our offense was predicated and surrounded by him.
Yeah, well, if you don't have to, let's be I don't think anyone's double teaming Christian Kirk. So now instead of having to double, Hopkins or having a man over the top, you put an extra man in the box to help with James Conner. Well, now you eliminate the run game. Well, now the play action pass is affected, and now there's less deep ball. I think people forget one thing can change literally the entire dynamic of your offense.
Right.
So the other game we got wrong, and I'm really upset that I got this wrong because every time these guys just do something that I'm just like, I don't get it. Like their defense, I've said this before, their defense is so good. We got the Cleveland Browns. We both picked the Ravens.
I did pick the Ravens to win that game.
We both picked the Ravens.
Now Lamar did go out in the second quarter, Tom. So he did get hurt.
He was injured. He was injured. That's true.
We can't discount that. And the backup quarterback came in and he actually looked really good. To be honest with you, I thought that with Lamar not being in the lineup, I thought that team would be Jacksonville, and maybe they will be. Maybe they would be. And I don't think he's going to play this weekend either. I think that Lamar's going to be
we're going to see who they are without him if he doesn't play this week. Half a game, it's tough to tell.
I don't think he's going to play, but then their offense changed. The reason why we got that wrong, Tone, is because when Lamar went out, their offense changed and got switched up completely. Lamar Jackson is their offense. Right. Their offense is him. So we get the backup quarterback coming in, and now our offense has to change. Now we're more run heavy. Now we're more short passes, 5-yard hooks, check downs, and things like that. We're not really going downfield like we would normally go with Lamar. We're not doing the things that we would normally do. Having Andrews hitting him more, having Hollywood Brown hitting him more. We wouldn't have that stuff. Now we got to completely switch up our offense because Lamar Jackson was our entire offense. So
now they did the right thing in Baltimore, creating an offense built around Lamar. Like he's a special talent, and they needed to do that because you see guys like Jalen Hurts who don't have an offense built around his skill sets, and he looks like he's not as good as he probably could be. So I think they did the right thing in Baltimore. But you're right, if he goes down, now you got to play a completely different offense because there's not you can't like have a backup Lamar Jackson. Like there's no he's kind of one of a kind. I know they tried to, I think, with RG3, but it's not the same. Let's be honest.
Even if you got a Ferrari in the garage that you ride, even if the Ferrari breaks down and you got a Porsche, it's not the same. No,
right? You still might like it, but it's going to drive different. Fair enough. So does Cleveland now? Listen, they're in a wins in terms of wins. They're tied with Denver, who's behind them, with Cincinnati, who's behind them, and with Buffalo and the Colts.
Who did I have at the top of that division before the season started, Tom?
And they're only one game back of the Ravens, who they just beat.
Here they come.
Who I picked to win the AFC North. So, they're in it.
Yeah, they are.
But can they?
With the worst quarterback, by the way. With the worst quarterback.
They got themselves
according to my man Tone.
According to my man Tone. Butter Mayfield is the worst quarterback in the league, and they're getting a gift. And they're getting a gift. He's out with COVID. So now the backup, Case Keenum's going to come in, spread the ball around, and guess what? That's their best chance at catching the Ravens. Because I can't believe it with Case Keenum, because Butter, did something, and now he's got COVID. So COVID's running rampant through the NBA and NFL. We might want to talk about that on our live Mondays at 8 p.m. on TikTok, 8 p.m. Eastern. Come join us. We're going to do a little COVID talk. So you were on the Browns. You were off the Browns. Now are you back on the Browns? Do you think they can?
Whoa,
okay, not off, but you started to believe me.
Let's make
sure to believe me that maybe Baltimore is going to win that.
I started to hear the whispers, but I stuck with, and I'm sticking with Cleveland. I am. I'm sticking with Cleveland. The reason why I'm sticking with Cleveland is for one reason and one reason only. That defense. That's that defense that they have is enough to get them or to keep them competitive. When I think about Baker Mayfield, right? I understand, Tone, that he's the number one pick in the draft, and I expect him to be a franchise quarterback, and he lights up the scoreboard. And, well, maybe he isn't that guy. Maybe he is just not an average quarterback, but maybe he's just good enough to keep us competitive, and our defense will get us over the top. Now, I know that you don't want to hear that simply because he's the number one overall.
No. It's not that I don't want to hear it. It's because it's true. He's not going to carry you to a Super Bowl. What you need him to do is not cost you wins.
Right. That's exactly where I was going with it. Because we're talking about a guy who he was the number one overall pick. So why isn't he more dynamic? Why isn't he lighting up the scoreboard? Well, maybe that's
just not that good.
That's not who he is. And that's fine if that's not who he is. However, if he's good enough to keep us competitive and our defense can push us over the top, that's enough. We've already seen where the Cleveland organization is with Baker Mayfield. Usually when you get to a point with your number one overall pick and we're in a contract year, what's the holdup? What are we waiting for, right? Well, the reason why there's a holdup is because we're not sure that this guy is our guy moving forward. That's what the problem is, right? That's exactly what the problem is. But I think he's good enough to keep them competitive. And I think that they can win this. I'm a huge...
Do you know how they could win? Run Chubb, run Hunt, rely on your defense. Take a page from the Patriots. Let him pass the ball 3 times, and you have a better chance. But let's see. Let's see. Maybe I'm crazy, but let's see when Case Keenum comes in. If he doesn't spread the ball around, if you don't see more of the tight end, you don't see Kareem Hunt catching more balls out of the backfield. Let's wait and see. So let's let that lead us into this week's picks.
Okay, what we got?
We got a good Thursday nighter. A good Thursday nighter. And I'm telling you right now, you're going to be surprised at who I pick because I've already made this pick somewhere else.
I already know who you're going with.
We got the Chiefs and the Chargers.
I'm going with you already know where I'm at, Tone. I'm a Chargers guy. I think that they're going to end up in the AFC Championship game, and I see what Justin Herbert has been doing. I think he's got in the 3 games that he's played, I think he's got 120 QBR, and he's thrown 8 touchdowns. I think their defense is solid. I think their offense is solid enough. He's getting back on the same page with Mike Williams, and that offense is and Ecker. That offense, it looks like it's getting together and it's rolling. So I think they handle Kansas City tonight.
Who do you think I'm going to pick?
I think you're going to pick the Chargers.
I'm 100% picking the Chargers.
I think you are.
And I thought you'd be. I've been big on Kansas City. Here's my thing. Chris Jones is out. And I know it's only one defensive player, but he has kind of brought that defense together and in a way that kind of they have more confidence. They've been playing better. And with that Kansas City offense, all you need is an okay, not even good, an okay defense. With Chris Jones out, I think the Chargers get it done. So I'm going. I can't believe I'm saying it.
I will say this, Tone, that the Chargers, they are missing their right tackle, so that's going to be big, and that's going to be that could very well be a factor. But I don't think that that's going to affect them that much. Even though
I think Jones is a much bigger loss.
Yeah, and I think Kansas City. I think Kansas City with their front 4 and what they've been doing with Bolton and Hitchens. I think that series, but I don't think it's going to affect the Chargers that much.
Yeah, I like I said, I think the Chargers have been playing much better. As they started out nice, they had a lull there in the middle, and they're starting to pick it back up again. So yeah, I can't believe I'm saying it. I think it's the Chargers. All right, Saturday games. Whoo, sad. I love when it's Saturday. When I can get football Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Can you handle it, Tone? Can you
I
handle it?
I love it. I love it. All right. The Raiders. The Cleveland Browns.
Well, the Raiders, they just going the other way, Tone, to be quite honest with you. I think that this season, it's not unsalvageable where it could still be respectable, but I just think that they're going the other way. I think that it's a wasted season for Derek Carr because I think this is probably his best season, if not one of his. I think this is his best season, and I feel like it got wasted. Him and Waller were just great together, but I think that Cleveland handles them this weekend.
Waller being questionable, I think, is interesting. Kareem Hunt is doubtful for the Browns. Like I said, Baker Mayfield in this protocol. You know what? So you're going Cleveland?
I am going Cleveland.
I'm going to stick with what's carried me very well. I think the Raiders, here's the thing. If the Raiders can be around 500, which right now they're a game below 500, like if they finish the season like 8-9, I think that's a win. Considering, I get it, they should have been better, but considering everything they went through this season, I think an 8-9 record is actually a win. Yeah. And after being embarrassed last week,
they got stomped.
How many teams do we always say, "Oh my God, they got embarrassed last week. Oh, they're gonna get killed again this week"? And what do? They find a way to rally together. So I'm gonna go with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay.
Because I think there's a lot going on in Cleveland. I think the coach also has COVID. As I said, Baker's got COVID. Kareem Hunt is doubtful. Like, you're asking a lot of that defense, which I think is capable. But I have a feeling about the Raiders this week. All right, I'm also going to surprise you on this one. Another Saturday game. The New England Patriots against the Indianapolis Colts.
Here's the thing about the Patriots, Tone. Their defense,
the number one seed. New England Patriots. I should mention.
New England. This feels normal for me with them being the number one seed. This doesn't feel like a shock. This doesn't seem to me like, man, I can't believe it, because they've been around so long, and Belichick's that kind of guy where you expect this sort of stuff from a team that he constructed, by the way, Tone. It was him who decided to pay all of these guys. It was him who drafted the guys that he drafted. He was the one who got Mac Jones. So I'm not surprised at what they're doing. And this week, as much as I dig Jonathan Taylor and as much as I see what's going on in Indianapolis, how they rolling, I think that the New England Patriots just keep rolling. I just do. I think that they keep rolling, man.
I believe the exact opposite. And I've been high on the Patriots. I've said Mac Jones has the potential, and the Patriots have the potential to go to the Super Bowl and have the first rookie quarterback ever in the history of the Super Bowl win one. And I think this is the wake-up call. And I think Bill Belichick almost allows it to happen, that they lose because he doesn't want his teams thinking, oh, we're great. We're on this run. We've won X amount of games in a row. I think they lose to the Colts. And he says, see, if you let your guard down, if you don't listen to me, that's what happens. And then they go on another run. So I'm actually picking the Colts to surprise. But maybe not Bill Belichick. I think he's almost too smart for his own good, where he's like, yeah, I'm going to let them lose a game. Like, there's been times, I think, like the Colts, right, where they had a chance at a perfect season, and it's just like, oh, they rested these guys, and then they lose, and they're like, see, any given Sunday, and it's that spark they need. I think this is that a learning moment, and I'm actually going to go with the Colts. But as I think that's the New England's last loss of the season. No more surprises after this one, I don't think. Bengals and Broncos.
I think that I think Cincinnati handles Denver this week. After what happened last week and putting that pressure on Joe Burrow, who is quietly becoming one of my favorite quarterbacks in the game. After Justin Herbert, I love Joe Burrow, and I love that team is going to be really good for a long time. I love what they're doing. Absolutely. And I think that they handle Denver this week. Absolutely, I do.
As much as I love saying I was right, I feel like I need to also say when I'm wrong. So rewind 2 years. I had Cynthia Freeland on the show, and we were talking about the draft. And Cincinnati obviously had the first pick. And I said, take Chase Young. I said, take the defensive player build your team through there's going to be other quarterbacks. Build your offensive line, build your defense, then bring in a young quarterback that you can protect. Because if you bring in a quarterback and he's getting, running for his life, and your defense stinks, you're not going to win games.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, take Chase Young and build, and then next year get a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And for a couple of weeks there, I was like, oh yeah, maybe I made the right decision. And then I was like, wow, Joe Burrow's really good, and he's able to escape, this. Maybe he is a franchise quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets hurt. And I know he didn't get hurt, getting sacked. I think he was trying to sneak one in for a touchdown or something, or whatever, trying to get a yard. It was on a QB sneak. I think he got hurt. But I said, see, all that abuse he was taking, now he tries a QB sneak and boom, he gets hurt. What did I tell you? Take the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have a chance to pick up an offensive, I think Sewell, I think is how you pronounce his name. And they go Jamar Chase. And I go, man, like, how is he going to throw from his back? He's got no offensive line. Man. So I was wrong 2 years in a row on Bengals draft picks. And I'll admit it, I was wrong. Burrow was the right guy. I think he's going to be a really, really, really good, if not great, quarterback. And I think the Bengals are going to be a competitive team, I think, for years to come, like you said. And Jamar Chase is a superstar wide receiver. So they got it right on both counts, on Burrow and on Chase.
It doesn't hurt that the guy that's throwing Chase the ball now was the same guy
throwing him in college. Yeah.
So that doesn't hurt. No,
but my thing was, I saw this meme. I think I showed it to you where Burrow's on his back. It's like, how do you throw from your? You can't throw the ball to Chase if you're getting sacked.
No, you can't.
But they found a way. The defense has played better. They've been inconsistent, but it's a second year. I get it. It's a second year quarterback. There's going to be inconsistencies. Mm-hmm. So I'm with you. All that being said, I want to just put out there because like I told you so. So now I'm going to tell you, hey, you told me so. So I was wrong about the Bengals. I'm going to go with the Bengals as well to beat the Broncos, even though it's in Denver. I think you're right. I still think they come back. Denver's not a good enough team to say, well, when they play at home, that they can't be beat.
I'm very disappointed in Teddy Bridgewater in that group because I was high on them before the season started. I know you got that orange crush. I do. Yes, I do. I do have an orange.
The Panthers and the Bills. The Bills didn't look bad in that second half against the Bucks, but it's tough. It is. It's tough to play the Bucks, but now they got the Panthers.
Mm-hmm. Who they should handle. They
should handle, right?
This isn't a game that should be a nip and tuck. They should handle them. Cam Newton's been benched twice since he's been back in Carolina. They're not a good football team at all. They don't have a very good quarterback. Cam Newton said, quote, I don't think that there's 32 quarterbacks better than me. Yes, it is. Yes, there are. In fact, I think it may be even more than that. He is not a good quarterback right now, and that Carolina team is not a good team. CMC has not been what we thought he was going to be this season. That defense, before the season started, when the season started, the first 3 or 4 games, they looked really, really good. But that is not a good football team, Tone. And the Buffalo Bills, with how they played against Tampa, they should handle these guys this weekend. This should not be something that's a nip and tuck football game. They should handle these dudes.
Yeah, I think if the Bills have any expectations, which I know they do, of being successful in the playoffs, this is that get right game. Look, Carolina's defense isn't bad, but they need to blow these guys out.
They should handle
issues at quarterback. CMC is out. DJ Moore is doubtful. Like this is the type of game that if you don't blow these guys out, then I'm really concerned about what the rest of your season look like for sure. So I'm obviously with the Bills as well. We got the Cardinals and the Lions. I'm
going to take Arizona.
I'm just going to put down Arizona for both of us.
I'm going to take Arizona.
I think Detroit got their win. They're happy. They're going to start focusing on the rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to surprise us, right? And probably get and just to shake things up, they're going to win.
That's all I need is for them to smoke Arizona. That's all I need.
Put even more doubt into what Arizona can do. This is going to be a classic. The Jets and the Dolphins.
Can you believe that? And Tone, you laughing? Okay, Tone, you laughing? But I look at this Dolphins team.
That's what I'm saying. I think the Dolphins handle them. I think
they are in the hunt. The Dolphins are trying to make the playoffs. The Dolphins are not a team that's just here. They're trying to make the play. I think they've won 6 of their last 7 games, so they're rolling right now. They are rolling right now, and I think I absolutely think that they handle the Jets. Yes, I do.
And I'm with you. And I think, listen, I've always said this, and I'm going to say it every week because I keep getting attacked. I never said Tua was bad. I've always said I'm worried about his health. If Tua stays healthy, you see what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
right? There's a reason, and you're down in that area. There's a reason they were tanking for Tua, right? That whole season in Southern Florida, it was tank for Tua.
That's all it was.
It wasn't tanking for anybody else. It was tank for Tua. So
that's all it was.
Come back from a hip injury. Listen, good for him. I'm like I said, if he could stay healthy, he'll be good. Division games always tough to pick. You got the Cowboys and the New York Football Giants. I say with a question mark.
No, well, we got Mike Glennon at the helm.
And Mike Glennon at the helm. Yeah,
we got Mike Glennon at the helm. No Danny Dimes this week, and I was wrong about the Giants. I really thought that they were going to be a lot better than what they were. Saquon has been pedestrian at best. I think the Cowboys handle these dudes. I absolutely think that they do, and I think that they handle them specifically because of their defense. I don't think it's going to be because Dak throws for 1,000,000 yards. I think that it's because what Micah Parsons does, what Diggs does. I think that they handle these guys on defense.
Yep. So I'm 100% going with the G-Men to lose this game. So we both got Dallas, and so another. This is what I do like what they did with the schedule. I've said this before, but I like that they put a lot of division games at the end. Washington 6-7, Eagles 6-7.
That's going to be a good one, and I think this game is going to come down to Jalen Hurts. I think he's going to be the difference in this game. And getting getting Tay, not Devontae. I'm getting Mike. Why does his name escape me?
Devontae Smith.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm sorry, Tone. I don't know why his game.
Read your mind. We're at that point now.
he just, if we can involve him more, I think he's going to be the difference. Him and Hurts are going to be the difference in this game. I can appreciate the Philadelphia Eagles run game has been less than stellar this season. Their defense has been solid, right? But their play calling has been questionable, and getting Smith more involved in the offense is going to be big to what they do this weekend against Washington. I think that they can beat Washington, even though Washington's been rolling right now. I think Philly could beat them.
So a lot of this is going to be dependent on what I'm about to say, because Hurts is questionable, Sanders is questionable, Jordan Howard is questionable, and I like when they have Sanders and Howard kind of running the ball a little bit for Hurts. So if those guys are out, then it's less likely that the Eagles win. I want to say Eagles, but I'm going to go with Washington because I think they're on a roll. I think they're again a little bit healthier, and I like them a little bit better than Philadelphia. A little bit better. This is still, if we think about it, this is still really Jalen Hurts' first season. Like, I think he's only started 16, 17, 18 games. Like, he's still,
this is his first season as a full-time starter.
As a full-time star. So I think he's gonna be a little inconsistent. So I think this is one of those, those divisional games. You literally could flip a coin, but I'm gonna go with Washington. Titans. I'm so impressed with the Titans. I'm not gonna lie. The fact that they've kept it together after losing Derrick Henry, they go into Pittsburgh to play the 6-1. Figure the Steelers still figure out a way that they could finish 8-8. The Titans and Steelers.
I think this is a knockdown, drag out football game. And Tone, I want to make sure that we hear this on our show. I think Mike Vrabel is coach of the year. You heard it here first. I think Mike Vrabel is coach of the year for everything that he's been doing with that unit. I think Mike Vrabel is coach of the year. I think that this is going to be one of those classic smash mouth football games between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Tennessee. And I think Tennessee gets it done. I absolutely think they get it done with their front four. And Julio Jones has been less than stellar also. He's not been very good. He's been pedestrian at best. I thought that Julio Jones coming into the season, I thought he was going to be a top 5 receiver.
He was also hurt there for a while. So it's,
And that has a lot to do with why that I'm disappointed, because he stays banged up. I know that he's not been what he used to be, but I thought that he was going to be at least more respectable than what he is. So, but I do think that Tennessee gets this win. I think that they beat Pittsburgh, and it's going to be tough, but I think that they beat Pittsburgh.
I'm putting this game on one player's back. TJ Watt is questionable. If he plays, and I'm going to go with it because I'm going to assume he's going to play, I go with Pittsburgh. Because when he plays, it's a different team.
Yeah, it is.
It's a different team, and I really, really like Najee Harris. But I do want to question you on this. You said Mike Vrabel coach of the year. Did we not say when Cliff Kingsbury said that Bill Belichick Like no one should get Coach of the Year until Bill Belichick retires,
We
and they
did
should
say that.
rename the award Bill Belichick. You
Bill
agreed with
Belichick Award.
Cliff Kingsbury,
I
so now
did
you're
say
off that. Now you're on Mike Vrabel.
I'm just thinking about what Vrabel has done, man. We're talking about a guy who has the best runner in the game, and they were in first place in the AFC. So they lose arguably the best player in the game. They were supposed to go in the tank, Tone. They were fifth in the league in rushing, right? They not only were they fifth in the league in rushing, they had the number one rushing attack in the game. So lose that.
Well, yeah, because Derrick Henry was eighth when you did team rushing. He was eighth by himself.
Just by himself. He rushed more than 18. We're talking about him rushing more than most of the teams in pro football.
Yeah.
So when you lose him and you lose that dynamic in your offense, I would expect him to just go in the tank. Mike Vrabel kept these boys afloat. And not only did he keep these boys afloat, they still right there. I think they third right now in the AFC, second or third in the AFC right now. And they rolling. Now, I can't discount. Now, this might change in a week, Tone, that Belichick is going to be Coach of the Year, considering they were 2-4 at one point, and now they're at the top of the AFC. But with that being said, I love what Mike Vrabel is doing, man, and he has to be considered the Coach of the Year.
They are currently the number 2 seed.
Number 2.
And so I'll say this. I'm impressed with, like I said, I was one of those guys that thought when Henry went down, Tennessee's done.
I thought their season was over.
And they kept it going. I'll probably say this. The person who should and probably will win it, if one of those two teams is the number 1 seed, because right now they're 1-2, same record, right? So I think if New England or Tennessee is the number 1 seed, or whoever's the higher seed, maybe in the AFC, that coach will get the head coach, and well deserved. I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh. You got Tennessee. Texans and somebody coaching the Jags. Talk about two franchises that need like this season to end so that they can just
they don't need it to end in 2 weeks or in a month. They need Sunday to be the last game so we can start this whole thing over with. But I'm gonna go with Houston. Jackson. You know what, Tom? I take that back. With Urban Meyer gone, I think that black cloud is over their head. I think it's gone now.
You took it.
And I think that Jacksonville beats these dudes.
You took the words.
Did I take your thunder, Tom?
You stole my thunder because I was I thought, he's taking the Texans. Perfect. Because that's exactly what I was going to say is everyone's going to go like, all right, Urban Meyer's gone. Let's show them. Let's show. And if you're a good coach, right? If you're a good coach, you're going to say, hey, you wanted him gone. He was a cancer in our locker room. He called us all losers. Let's go show them. So I don't only think they beat the Texans. I think you're like, what team is this? Because they blow them out. Handle them. All right. So we're both going with the Jags. Maybe sometimes I should go first and make my pick, stealing my thunder. All right. Falcons and your Niners.
I tell you what, Tone. I like my boys, man, and I see what Atlanta has been doing with that pass attack. But my boys, we've been rolling, Tone. We absolutely been rolling, and I think we keep that thing rolling this weekend. And I think Jimmy G is looking more comfortable. And last week was a game that we had to win, not had to win just for record standpoint, but to prove to go into a tough environment against a good team and win. And to prove that we could do that, that was a big deal. And I think that we keep that rolling because what that does is that boosts our confidence. We got Atlanta coming out to the Bay. I think we beat them.
I think, listen, I got to tell you, when I looked at the standings and saw that Atlanta was still in the hunt.
Yes, they are. I
kind of went, really? Because they've looked, you lose your top wide receiver, going to get himself right, which is the right thing to do. Cordell Patterson, or Cordero, I always say his first name wrong with Patterson, looks like
amazing.
Looks like what we thought he was going to be in Minnesota, what we thought he was going to be in Chicago. That's what he's doing. He's running the ball. He's receiving. He's now listed as a running back. It's just they're using him the right way, and they've really impressed me the way they've won games when he's playing. Like when he's out, wow, that offense looks bad. But when he's in, but I still got the 49ers winning this game. I said to you back a few weeks ago, I don't think I think they're the scariest team. If their defense is healthy, if Jimmy G can stay confident, because when he starts and is confident, what do they win? Like 80% of their games? Like it's a ridiculous number.
That's correct.
And last week was the first time, and we talked about this in previous weeks. It didn't look like he was looking over his shoulder.
Yeah.
It looked like just focus and play. Someone got in his ear and said, listen, I guarantee you this is what was said. Tom Brady had a really good young quarterback behind him. His name was Jimmy G. Do you think Tom Brady was worried about you? No. Brett Favre had Aaron Rodgers behind him. Was he worried? No. Aaron Rodgers has Jordan Love sitting back there. Do you think he was worried? No. Joe Montana had Steve Young sitting there. Did he look worried? No. Forget what's behind you. Look forward. Yeah. And it looks like he listened. I'm assuming that's the type of conversation they had. Because if he stops looking over his shoulder, he's good enough. I'm not a big Jimmy G fan, but with that team, I think he's good enough to get. He took him they can go. I've told you this. I'm not just saying this because you're 49ers. I don't want to face them in the playoffs. Yeah. Because they can't. They're that team that their defense and they can get it done, which I hate. I don't want to play a good defense, right? I don't want a team that I know that I could score on them. There's things I can do. I'm worried about the Niners if I'm playing them in the playoffs. So yeah, I got the 49ers. I'm with you. Seahawks and Rams.
Oh, I think Seattle beats them.
You think Seattle comes down to LA and beats them?
I think Seattle beats them. Tone, that's a playoff team. Russ missed a month. And as good as the Rams have been, and I think that the Rams hiccup this weekend. And I think that Seattle comes in there, and I think that they beat them. Yes, sir.
I'm going to go with the Rams only to be contrarian. But you know what? You make a really good point. But I think the Rams are rolling. I think I still am worried about, I think you're going to see Russ running for his life like Kyler Murray did. If they use the same game plan against Seattle that they did against Arizona, because I think Arizona had a better running game. But I think there's something wrong between Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf. I don't know what it is. They're not.
I'll tell you what the problem is. He ain't throwing him the ball enough. That's the problem, Tom.
I don't know.
That's the problem. He's not throwing him the ball enough.
Why isn't he throwing him the ball?
Right. That's the $1 million question. Why isn't he throwing him the ball enough?
I'll tell you why.
Because Russell Wilson is running for his life constantly. He doesn't get to sit in the pocket
I feel like Sierra might have said, "Hey, I really like DK Metcalf's hair," and now they're just like,
now we got a problem.
We got a problem. She's like 1-2 step. No. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I get what you're saying. He's not throwing the ball. Why isn't he throwing the ball? They don't see, because I've seen him open. But I guess you're right. When you're turning and running, I guess it's hard to see people open. But yeah, so that's why I think is the problem is if he doesn't get the ball to DK Metcalf, right? Like Tyler Lockett's fantastic, but if he doesn't get the ball to DK Metcalf, they're gonna have a hard time scoring. And that's why I'm still kind of leaning towards Rams, because if the Rams are smart, you never know. But if the Rams are smart, they do the same kind of game plan, like I said, where they Russ Wilson, keep him inside, do exactly what you said with Kyler Murray. They win that game. So, but division games, again, you never know. The Green Bay Packers, man, they're going to get I feel like they're going to get a layup here if Lamar Jackson is out against the Baltimore Ravens.
I don't think Lamar Jackson. Well, Coach Harbaugh has said that they are preparing to play without him. So I think Green Bay handles them. I absolutely think Green Bay handles them. Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, and even with Aaron Jones not being 100%, I still think the Green Bay is rolling right now. And when I think about the better teams in NFC, that's who I think about when I think about Green Bay. So, and I think that they handle Baltimore this weekend.
I don't see Lamar Jackson listed on the injury report, so we'll see. But even again, I think even if they have Lamar Jackson, I think Green Bay wins. So if he's out, then yeah, I feel like I'm picking Green Bay a lot this year. Then again, they have 10 wins, so it makes sense that I'm picking them.
That would explain it. I would explain it, Tom.
They're good, man. I hate it bothers me like from my heart, but in my head, I got to pick them. New Orleans going into Tampa Bay. They have a shot.
I think Tampa handles them.
Yeah.
I think Tampa handles them. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I don't think much to be said. Who's it? Taysom Hill is going to be the quarterback. Yeah. Now they look better with Alvin Kamara, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think it's a competitive game, but I think what is New Orleans' strength with Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara? Well, it's running the ball in kind of short short passes. Well, what's Tampa Bay still the best at doing? Stopping the run, right? What is their weakness? Their defensive backfield. So how can you beat the Tampa Bay Bucks? By throwing the ball deep. What can Hill not do? Throw the ball deep.
That's
so when your strength matches their strength and their weakness matches your weakness, I'm going with, and you keep telling me the Saints defense isn't as good as advertised. So,
and you're still not listening to me.
I still think they're better than people give them credit for. They're not a great defense. I still think they're better. Oh my God. I know you. Okay. And listen, they're 6-7. So you're probably more right than I am.
Tone, this girl isn't that good looking. You looking right at her, and you telling me, no, she
but
really
listen, have you ever seen Hall Pass?
Yes. Take the goggles off, Tone.
She's standing there next to a couple of ugly girls.
So that's the problem. Take the goggles off, Tone. She's not that good looking. You see that big pimple on her face? Take the goggles off.
I'm distracted by the other things standing.
No,
I got to do that. What is this? Oh, yeah. I'll pull that off.
Yep.
All right. I do love this. They're not that good. They've shown some promise. I really like what I saw from their offense last week. Hate what I saw from their defense last week. But my Bears seem to keep getting into prime time. Sunday night, now the Monday nighter. And they're against the Vikings team, which I love because I know what I'm going to get from Kirk Cousins on Monday night. I think there's a chance. I'm
picking the Bears. I'm picking the Bears. Absolutely. I'm picking the Bears this weekend. Yes, I am. Because I know who Kirk Cousins is. I know when the lights are the brightest, I know who Kirk is, and I know what he does. I think Jefferson's he's, as of right now, he's one of the 5 best receivers in the game right now. Absolutely. Dalvin Cook is arguably one of the best running backs in the game. Over 200 yards last week. He looked really good. The difference with him is his health. That's why Minnesota isn't as good as they should be, because he stays beat up. If he could stay healthy, that's another 2 wins that they could possibly have. That's the problem with that Minnesota team. And ultimately, the problem is when the lights get brightest, we know who Kirk. And Kirk Cousins isn't one of those guys, Tone, who fails. He doesn't fail slightly. When he fails, it's miserably. And his
ceiling is good. His floor is like sub.
And you can see it right before you. Right, you can see it right before your eyes, Tone. When he's going to pieces, you're like, here it goes, and it's like an avalanche with this guy. So I'm picking the Bears. Absolutely. I gotta quiet but kept. Like you talked about the orange crush. I have a man crush on Roquan Smith. Yes, I do, and I am here to admit it. Yes, I do. And
why wouldn't you?
And I've had it for quite some time now. Yes, and I've had it for quite some time. So,
although the greatest team in NFL history, the Chicago Bears are the 14th seed, only above, thankfully, the Lions. If they win out, and everybody else loses out, they are in the playoffs.
Look, here we go.
I'm just saying, if they win out, they go 8-9, and all you need is this: San Francisco, Washington, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Atlanta, New Orleans.
We got to lose all that games,
and the Giants. You just got to lose all those guys.
The Bears got to win the rest of their games. Justin Fields, he got to have 130 QBR and throw 6 touchdowns every game. I can't handle Tone.
No. He doesn't. Justin Fields they just have to go 4-0. They just have to go 4-0, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams have to all lose out.
They got to lose.
Actually, they don't have to lose out. No. Actually, no. If we're being real, San Francisco has to lose out. Washington, Minnesota, Philadelphia, and Atlanta and New Orleans can go 1-3. Carolina, Seattle, and the Giants just can't win more than 2 games.
If this happens, the Bears win in the Super Bowl. I'm going on record.
No, it'll be like last year. They'll back themselves into the playoffs and lose in the first round. just so that they can't get a good. You know what? It doesn't even matter. It's not their draft pick. It's the Giants' draft pick. If the Giants aren't good next year with their draft pick and the Bears' draft pick, both being like top 10 probably,
everybody fight.
Shame on the Giants. Shame on the Giants. All right, that's so Bears 4-0 gonna make the playoffs. We'll leave it with that. That's it for this week on Fluid and Chill NFL edition. Bear down, bear down edition. I forgot to say this last time. I'm not gonna forget to say it this time. Right there, you can see. Actually, first comment, like, share, subscribe, but also you'll see right here, maybe right here. I don't know where it is. Maybe right here. You'll see Spotify. So Fluent and Chill, NFL, NBA is all now on Spotify. So if you don't want to see our ugly mugs and you just want to listen to this incredible content, check out Spotify. Starting from last week's episode, I'm going to go back in. I'm going to put in all the older episodes too, so you can listen to those. But right now, everything from last week moving forward is on Spotify. If you want to give it a listen when you're driving in your car, when you're sitting at the office, you don't want to hear it. Listen, if you're tired of the Christmas music, turn on Fluent and Chill.
Check us out, man. Absolutely, man.
Until next week.
Take it light, but take it. Happy birthday, Terrell, my daughter.